Elon is just my genius boy. I remember him saying to me after PayPal was sold, should he do solar or electric cars?
Maye Musks' existence has been a life of determination, discovery, and an unbreakable belief in the power of inquisitiveness and purpose. Over the years, she played a huge role in making Elon Musk what he is today. Her parenting style keeps being a point of reference for making all the difference. Today, she has made a very shocking revelation about how Elon got to the point he is today, and it's nothing short of breathtaking. Watch till the end to learn more about the legend that we all know today. Born on April 19, 1948 in Canada, Maye Musk grew up as a child in South Africa, where her parents Joshua and Wynne Haldeman migrated in search of adventure and exploration. The Haldemans were not colonizers. They were daring adventurers who yearned to discover the secrets of the world. Joshua, a chiropractor and weekend archaeologist, and Wynne, a dance and speech teacher, took their children on expeditions across the Kalahari Desert in pursuit of a lost city. Such adventures involved flying small planes into the unknown, living on meager rations, and relying on instincts and determination to navigate through the unknown. This spirit of adventure had a lasting effect on Maye, and she was left with a touch of independence, courage, and an ability to embrace things that were outside the ordinary. Growing up in such an environment made Maye bold and enterprising. She never feared the unknown but embraced it. When she went on to have children of her own, she brought them up with the same daring spirit, challenging them to think beyond their own situation and to learn at all times. Maye met Elon Musk, a South African electromechanical engineer, when she was still in her early 20s. He was funny, smart, and ambitious. They were married in 1970, but soon Maye was in an unhappy, stressed marriage. It was a difficult relationship with lots of strife that made Maye's life even more miserable. The marriage produced 3 children, Elon, Kimball, and Tosca. Maye's life continued to be strained by her marriage with the passing of each year. Though Errol was no doubt wise, his dominating personality and personal vulnerabilities made it difficult to coexist with him. Maye was not going to put up with a terrible and stifling marriage and divorced Errol after 9 years of marriage. Maye became a single mom and had a tough life. Following the divorce, Maye found it challenging to be granted custody of her children, but with determination, she was granted sole custody of her children. However, supporting 3 children on her own in South Africa was no easy task. In order to have a roof over their heads, Maye was compelled to utilize her career as a model, something she had started when she was 15 years old. Maye was able to support herself and her children with steady employment due to her good looks and professionalism. She took part in campaigns, commercials, and fashion shows while still having a career as a dietitian, lecturing, and consulting. Even though she didn't have much, she never allowed her condition to get her depressed or stop her children from going where they wanted. Elon was a highly intelligent and curious child, always absorbed in books and concepts well beyond his age. Instead of stifling his boundless imagination, Maye nurtured it. She provided him with books on all manner of topics, from science fiction to physics, so that he could learn at a mind-boggling rate. When Elon showed an interest in technology and business at a young age, Maye did not dismiss it as a phase. She supported his endeavors, even when they were not conventional. She allowed him to experiment, learn through experience, and discover. One of the strongest points in Elon's early life was when he was captivated by the stock market. Instead of dismissing it, Maye instructed him on how to invest. She believed that experience was the greatest teacher and let him handle his finances, and by doing so, gave him an early understanding of economics and risk. Elon's fascination with computers was also an area where Maye's parenting style had a crucial impact. Computers were considered by the majority of parents during her generation as toys, but Maye saw the potential and encouraged Elon's passion. At the age of 12, he wrote a computer game called Blaster, which he sold for $500. Maye never allowed her financial difficulties to hinder providing education to her children. She had a passion for education, and saw to it that they were availed the chance to access education and exposure. When Elon knew that he would have to relocate to North America if he had to do something greater, she did all that was within her power to support him. She also understood that South Africa and its fiscal and political limitations could not grant Elon the exposure that he would need to flourish. He first moved to Canada, where Maye was born, and later she joined him with Kimball and Tosca. Maye's sacrifices and dedication were worthwhile as Elon flourished in North America. He studied at Queen's University in Canada before switching to the University of Pennsylvania, where he excelled in economics and physics. Elon Musk's achievement as a successful businessman of PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, and numerous others is attributed to the groundwork laid by Maye. Her unorthodox childhood had prepared her to raise her children to be bold and not intimidated, and her determination as a single parent had prepared them to understand the value of hard work and determination. She taught them that what they perceived as impossible was in their heads, and that with will and determination, they could accomplish anything. Even as Elon was becoming a vastly influential world leader, Maye remained a force in his life. She continued to model into her 70s as a cover girl model, proving the strength of reinvention regardless of her age. Maye Musks' existence is that of unusual strength, independence, and unyielding belief in her dreams. She made Elon bold, imaginative, and willing to step into the unknown. Maye Musk spoke in detail about the early life of her son Elon, and she revealed that this was not a very easy period for him. Though nowadays he is renowned everywhere as one of the globe's most innovative minds, during childhood, he was a child with an abnormal thirst for learning that turned him into an unusual character among other children. His mind was difficult for most others to keep track of, and this, in combination with his difficulties at school, made it a difficult time for him growing up. Maye has explained how her son was always bullied, often to the point of severe bodily harm, and how he found refuge in the world of technology, where he could retreat from reality into a world of computers and engineering. Perhaps the saddest thing Maye said about Elon's childhood was how often he was bullied as a kid. He was raised in Pretoria, South Africa, and was not exactly the coolest kid. The bullying wasn't only verbal and psychological, but was also physical. There was one especially brutal beating that landed him in the hospital. He was thrown down the stairs and beaten so severely that he passed out. The beating was so severe that he lay in the hospital for days, regaining his consciousness. Elon never once turned violent to defend himself during all this. He moved further inside of himself, enjoying books and computers. Maye mentioned that he tended to read the tough stuff, preferring encyclopedias rather than children's books. He was inquisitive by nature, and instead of going out to play with other kids, he would get lost in science fiction books and technical handbooks. Adding his troubles, Maye also said that Elon was autistic with Asperger's syndrome. Elon's social difficulties were not known, and he appeared peculiar or unusual. He could not read people, had a weak talent for small talk, and was a lover of high-stakes, cerebral arguments on exalted subjects. His passion for certain subjects made it difficult for him to get along with kids his age, which isolated him even further. And yet, even though these inclinations made social life difficult, they also made him overwhelmingly brilliant. Maye has said that Elon could hyper-focus on any topic and master everything about it. He has been incredibly fascinated with computing since childhood. At the age of 10, he had become a programmer. It was one of his first big tech accomplishments in life when at the age of 12, he had created a computer game named Blaster. The video game, a space shooter by today's standards, was crude but demonstrated that he was capable of doing functional thinking and software designing. He programmed it himself and sold the game to a computer magazine for $500. It was a preliminary indicator of his business savvy, an early example that he was already capable of turning his technical talent into wealth. However, Blaster was only the beginning. Maye related that Elon would always want to learn how to do something. Where other kids were contented with playing with the toys, he had to understand how they were constructed. He would take apart home electronics just to understand how they worked and then attempt to fix them again. This voracious appetite for knowledge was not restricted to computers and video games. He was enamored of rockets, artificial intelligence, and energy solutions years before they were popular. Space travel fascinated Elon the most. He spent the whole day reading about space travel, physics, and engineering. He would argue tough scientific ideas with anyone who would listen to him, irrespective of whether they were even significantly older than him or not. He was already suffering the emotional and physical repercussions of having been bullied, but he also faced the isolation of being intellectually different too. Maye has said that while she always encouraged his curiosity, she always worried about how secluded he was. However, unlike other parents who attempt to steer their children towards mainstream professions, she never attempted to discourage Elon from his interest. She understood that his brain was unique and he was destined for something great. As Elon grew up, his passion intensified. He was fascinated by artificial intelligence, sustainability, and the future when humanity would colonize Mars. They were not fleeting thoughts, as he committed to following through on it. This interest in technology and innovation at a very young age subsequently sowed the seeds for his multi-billion-dollar companies. As he transitioned from South Africa to a university in Canada and then to the United States, he took all these concepts with him. His first success was when he created Zip2, an internet directory of companies that helped newspapers transition into the internet age. He sold and invested the business for nearly $300 million. X.com followed, and then PayPal. Maye has spoken at length about how, from an early age, Elon was fascinated with innovating. He was always eager to see what came next. PayPal revolutionized online payment and established Elon's position as a technology visionary. However, he didn't rest with his early successes. He needed to do something to change the world. That is why he invested the money that he made in PayPal in Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity. Tesla owns the electric car market today. SpaceX is making space cheaper and more accessible to more individuals, and his AI research and brain-machine interfaces with Neuralink are opening up new possibilities for what can be achieved. Maye was always proud of where Elon ended up, but was never surprised that he succeeded. She has joked repeatedly that she never expected Elon to be a billionaire but always knew he was going to do something wonderful. Now, looking back on his childhood, it's not difficult to understand how his tumultuous childhood shaped the man he became. The beaten-up, bullied kid, lost in his own world of science, turned out to be one of the brightest minds of the 21st century. Maye stood by him through it all. She encouraged his peculiarity, his awkwardness, and his continuous learning. In so doing, she helped create a man whose enterprises and inventions have transformed the world, spreading into even politics in recent times. It was in the build-up to the 2024 election that the relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk marked a marriage of technological and political aspirations. Elon Musk's mother, Maye Musks, was always speaking publicly in favor of her son's business aspirations and publicly basking in the camaraderie of the two men, thanking the two men for envisioning America's future. Their collaboration has been the focus of international interest, and Trump and Musk have attributed their shared focus to efficiency, innovation, and shaking up government operations. The height of the high-profile collaboration was when Trump appointed Musk as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, which Trump had established in his efforts to make the government more transparent. This was a combination of statecraft and corporate know-how, and Musk's role was to impose reforms against administrative inefficiencies. The arrival of D.O.G.E was received with mixed feelings. Proponents viewed it as necessary, pushing toward change, but others predicted danger in the absence of strong checks and balances. The most controversial departmental policy was the mandatory reporting by all federal officials of their weekly achievements. The policy, which was instituted to bring in accountability, was resisted at first by career bureaucrats, but was embraced by Trump and Musk as a step in the right direction towards higher productivity. Trump, never one to be sympathetic to wastage, invited Musk himself to reduce government wastage even more. In the face of it all, Maye has remained a strong supporter of both Trump and Elon. She continued to assert that Elon's style was unorthodox but always efficient, pointing to the way he'd already made a lasting impact in areas of space and technology. She points out that his inclination to think outside the box is the reason he was the ideal individual to spearhead such a huge project. Musk's move wasn't without theatrics, however. The federal government was sued by 14 state attorneys general who argued Musk's position in D.O.G.E was unconstitutional and was impeding federal authorities. The suit accused the administration of constitutional transfer of presidential authority to an individual, which violated the idea of separation of power. Musk never flinched, asserting that his job is to prevent wastage in government. This resulted in broader questions about the nature of Musk's relationship with Trump. Musk had reportedly been dining with Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron Trump, having discussions about flying to outer space and even coding computer games. That photo of Musk and Barron Trump hanging out and chatting about Mars colonization and video games was trending on the media during one of Trump's victory dinners, but people didn't think so much about it at the time. Some even went as far as to speculate that Musk's passions for science fiction and advanced tech coincided with Barron's, and that there was nothing more to it. The later outcome of the relationship with the Trumps illustrates the extent to which Musk's reach is expanding from politics and business into newer generations and culture. His work with D.O.G.E keeps generating more questions as his style of management clashes with entrenched bureaucracy. Bureaucrats feared his interventions would have unintended consequences. Others welcomed the shakeup on the grounds that the operations of government agencies need to be reviewed. In the middle of all this, Musk's position has been questioned by others who claimed his action had democratic accountability issues, questioning whether a tech billionaire should have such a voice in state policy. Musk vehemently denied that he was doing anything other than holding different agencies accountable. Trump came to Musk's defense, reiterating his commitment to ensuring efficiency. Government spending has been kept in line to a great extent under Elon's watch. Supporters could point to the austerity as evidence that Musk's unconventional style was beginning to pay off. Even his critics conceded that some of the unnecessary spending had been cut off, although they wondered how long his reforms would last. And on Maye's revelations about Elon, Maye Musk has featured in interviews now and then to offer information regarding Elon's business exploits and undertakings. She promised herself that she was certain Elon's fearlessness and risk-taking ability were precisely what had made him successful. Her unwavering belief in his vision spoke volumes about the close mother-son relationship they shared and demonstrated the active role she played in his professional and personal life. As the country watches in awe as he embarks on his new reforms, there have been questions on whether D.O.G.E would be a fresh wave of lasting alteration to the government's authority or a temporary experiment. Either way, it has been a show of Musk's spectacular way of approaching problems, ushering in a new way of doing things. As speculation of Musk's political venture would not subside, others saw his backing of Trump as merely the beginning of an even more serious involvement with politics. Having already shaken up virtually every industry, it seems the logical next move is that Musk would try to seek office. For the meantime, his interest is in revolutionizing the government's mode of operation, with the same revolutionary zeal with which he had poured into other ventures like space travel, electric cars, and artificial intelligence. All eyes are still on Musk, Trump, and D.O.G.E. The impending court wars, the incessant remarks, and the probing of the exact nature of Elon's relationship with the Trumps are all geared toward finding out what's next for Elon. In all this, one thing remains for sure, and that's the fact that Elon will continue to push limits. It's exciting to see what next he will be up to. Make sure to check out our other videos, and we will see you in the next one.